Welcome to our final Egypt lecture and a very strange pharaoh. Let's begin with a video introduction to Akhenaten. The images on this slide are not required works, although they used to show up frequently on the AP exam. We've seen a lot of pharaohs in the last 3 days, but none that looked like this. So why did he appear so weird? Texts in Amarna tombs describe the god Aten as mother and father of us all, and some scholars think that for this reason Akhenaten chose to have himself portrayed as having both male and female features. That's what the term androgynous means, and it's a good word to add to your vocabulary. Other scholars speculate that these statues captured aspects of Akhenaten's real appearance, and even reflect deformities stemming from too much inbreeding. Indeed, a mummy has been identified that may be Akhenaten. It has a long skull and an elongated chin. Our Khan Academy scholars think that the change from rectilinear to more curvilinear forms may simply have reflected Akhenaten's determination to demonstrate his break with the past by developing a new set of artistic conventions. Note that while these depictions may have been more naturalistic, they still did obey conventions. All of the art from this period shows long faces, pointed chins, swollen bellies, and in general more curving lines. Egyptian artists had not adopted a purely optical approach. So I've already noted the softer curvilinear lines. We know that Akhenaten was a huge nature lover, and it's possible that the new religion's emphasis on nature led to more naturalistic portrayals in art. Notice, too, the sun with rays, the symbol of Aten, and how these rays seem to be pointing at the two representatives of Aten on earth, Akhenaten and his wife Nefertiti. The hands reaching out to the king and queen actually end with the Ankh, the symbol of the breath of life. Even more striking is how intimate this family portrait seems to be. This is a plausible picture of a loving family, and it shows much more emotion than was usually permitted in Egyptian art. On the other hand, what traditional Egyptian features do you see? Well, there are the composite figures with the body in profile and a frontal eye. We still see a uraeus, or cobra, on the sun. We see the symbols of both Upper and Lower Egypt on the queen's throne. In other words, this is still a pharaoh. Akhenaten's religious and political revolution did not last. During the last years of his reign, he stopped paying attention to what was happening outside his new city, Amarna, and many subject peoples rebelled. When Akhenaten died, the priests defaced his images. Here we see what once was Akhenaten driving a chariot, now rubbed out. And we all know what consequences that had for his ka. The stele of the family that we just looked at probably survived because it was a private house altar and not an image in the temple. It was discovered in the excavations at Amarna. Let's watch one last video clip from this video series and see what happened next. Drum rolls, last work of this unit. Whew! It's probably the single most famous image from ancient Egypt, but actually, the tomb, so famously discovered by Howard Carter, was a relatively minor tomb of a pharaoh who, after all, died when he was still a teenager and before he could accomplish much of anything. Just imagine what the tomb of Ramses II must have contained before tomb robbers made away with the loot. The mummy cover used 1/4 ton of beaten gold, as well as precious stones, lapis lazuli, turquoise, and carnelian. But notice, too, that we see a return to conventional depictions of a pharaoh, including that calm, distantly serene face, not unlike Khafre's. The proportions, such as the distance between the nose and the lips, suggest a youth, a healthy, even a perfect youth. Yet since we have Tut's mummy, we know that this is misleading. DNA studies have revealed that Tut had a cleft palate, a club foot, and that he had contracted malaria before he died, which suggests a weakened immune system. We also know that his father and mother, not Nefertiti, were full siblings. Finally, he was buried with walking sticks that the doctor who examined him think he probably needed to walk. Traditional pharaonic symbols abound. We see the Nemes headcloth, the false beard inlaid with precious jewels, the kingly uraeus cobra of Lower Egypt, combined with the vulture neckbed of Upper Egypt. Note how similar this is to the Narmer palette, with its evocation of the union of Upper and Lower Egypt. You may recall that gold and lapis lazuli were favorite royal decorative elements in Mesopotamia as well. So this video clip includes some great archival footage of Howard Carter's famous discovery of King Tut's tomb, and some fun clips from some very cheesy old movies as well. In this unit, we have covered a lot of territory and a lot of time. Next, we travel west of the Mediterranean cultures of Greece and Rome, a unit with a lot of required works, but also one that our students have enjoyed in the past.